I never thought I'd be crawling through a dirt tunnel at 2 in the morning, dragging my daughter behind me, while the cabin my father built with his own hands burned above our heads. And the worst part, I knew exactly who was standing outside, watching the flames with a smile. Not some stranger, not a random arsonist, no, it was the president of our homeowners association, my neighbor, the woman who claimed to be protecting our community. Act 1. The Spark. My name's Ethan Ward. After 15 years grinding it out as a real estate lawyer in the city, I walked away, burned out, widowed, raising my 12-year-old daughter part-time. I wanted something quieter, something real. So when my dad passed 6 months ago, I came back to Pine Lake to fix up his old cabin. My father was a Gulf War vet. Built that place back in '87 with his bare hands. Every board had history. So there I was, on the roof, hammer in hand, breathing in sawdust and pine. When sirens ripped through the air, I look up and sure enough, here comes Officer Martinez's cruiser rolling down the gravel road. And who's standing next to him, waving like she's flagging down an airstrike? Karen Ellison, 50 years old, perfect hair, pearls, white SUV parked like she owns the lake. She starts yelling before I even climb down the ladder. Officer, he's altering the structure without HOA approval. That's a violation. She looked like a prosecutor delivering a closing argument. I dust off my shirt, step down calm as ever, and shake Martinez's hand. I'm Ethan Ward. There's been some misunderstanding. Karen smirks, waiting for me to get slapped with a citation. That's when I pull a folded document from my back pocket. My father's deed, stamped and sealed in 1987. Martinez studies it, eyebrows climbing higher every second. Finally, he says, Mrs. Ellison, according to this, Mr. Ward's property predates the HOA, including, he pauses, double-checking the land where your HOA office currently sits. You could have heard a pin drop. Karen's face went from smug pink to pale white. I didn't rub it in. I just pocketed the deed, but I could see it in her eyes. I'd just cracked her kingdom wide open. Act 2. Escalation. That night, I spread Dad's files across the kitchen table. He'd kept everything military precision, and buried in there, I find the HOA formation documents. By law, 2/3 of homeowners had to sign to make it valid. 15 lots around Pine Lake meant they needed 10 signatures. Guess how many were on the paper? 7. And 2 of those signatures looked suspiciously identical. I stared at those pages, stomach turning. If the HOA was never legally formed, then every rule, every fine, every threat Karen had shoved down our throats was smoke and mirrors. The next day, Helen Torres, one of the older residents, knocks on my door with a casserole. Sweet lady, but her face was serious. She sits down, leans in, and tells me flat out, Ethan, Karen runs this place like her personal fiefdom, holds little emergency meetings in her living room with 3 friends, then announces decisions like the community voted and the folks who owe her money. They always vote her way. My head spun. HOA president by day, loan shark by night. That evening, my phone buzzes. Unknown number. A gravelly voice growls, Lawyer man, you better back off this boundary nonsense. Accidents happen around here. Click. I wish I could say I wasn't rattled, but I was. 2 strange men started hanging around the tree line near my cabin. One wiry and twitchy, the other built like a bulldozer. They didn't belong. And I knew it. Then Karen shows up again, flanked by her pet electrician and some guy in a wrinkled suit she calls legal counsel. They slap down a document on my table, an environmental impact report. According to them, my roof repairs might poison the lake, kill the fish, destroy property values. Construction shut down, pending a 6-month study, $15,000. A neat little trap. But here's what she didn't know: my daughter Lily was inside, filming through the window with her little camera. She caught Karen outside, handing an envelope to the twitchy guy. Cash. And she pointed at my cabin, while he nodded like he'd just gotten instructions. That night I sat alone, staring at those papers. For the first time, I thought about giving up, selling the land, packing Lily up, running before things turned ugly. I mean, who was I kidding? One man against an HOA president with the whole neighborhood under her thumb. But then Lily padded out of her room, holding up her camera. Dad, I think that lady's planning something bad. She'd seen the footage. She wasn't scared, she was determined. And I realized If my 12-year-old could see through Karen's lies, I damn well wasn't going to roll over. Act 2. Turning point. Karen called a community meeting. Packed house. People shoulder to shoulder. She fired up a projector. Showed slides of my roof repair like it was a toxic waste dump. Dramatic arrows. Scary red text. Classic Karen theater. When she finished, I stood up slow, voice steady. 20 years in courtrooms had taught me how to time a reveal. First, I laid out Dad's deed, my legal right to repair. Then I dropped the bigger bomb. This HOA was never legally formed. 7 signatures out of 15. Some forged. Every fine, every regulation, it's void. The room erupted. People shouting, neighbors turning on each other, then silence. Because I pulled out one last document, the survey map. According to this, the HOA office you built. It's sitting on Ward family land. Karen's face flushed crimson. She sputtered, waved her hands, promised she had all the documents. But when folks asked her to show them nothing, the meeting collapsed into chaos. Some defended her. Most demanded answers. And then, as I was packing up my papers, I heard it, Karen whispering into her phone, clear as day. We can't wait any longer. Do it tonight. Make it look like an accident. My blood ran cold. Act 3. The Inferno. I barely slept. Around 2:30 a.m. I jolted awake to the acrid stench of gasoline seeping through the floorboards. My heart stopped. Through the window I saw them, 2 silhouettes circling the cabin, pouring fuel with methodical precision. Ricky and Calvin, the guys I'd seen lurking, and then the unmistakable scratch of a match. I rushed to Lily's room, whispering, "Honey, wake up. We need to go." Quietly, her eyes flew open. She didn't panic. She trusted me. We scrambled to the basement. Dad's old security obsession, the hidden tunnel, suddenly became our lifeline. I pulled the release, swung open the false cabinet, and shoved Lily inside. As the first flames licked the windows upstairs, we crawled through darkness, smoke seeping after us. 10 minutes of hell, dragging ourselves toward the lake while our home burned above. When we finally burst out the camouflaged exit, gasping, the cabin was an inferno. Flames clawed at the sky, lighting the water orange. And standing in the shadows, Karen, phone in hand, recording. But Dad had one last card. His infrared cameras had caught everything. Ricky with the gas cans, Calvin on lookout, and most damning, Karen herself in the tree line, directing. Sirens wailed as fire trucks roared up the gravel road. Sheriff Johnson arrived, grim-faced, and I shoved the footage into his hands. Within minutes, deputies had Ricky and Calvin in cuffs, clothes soaked in fuel, hands reeking of accelerant. Calvin broke down screaming. She made us do it. Karen wanted the land for her resort. She gave us drugs, money, she threatened us. And right on cue, Karen strutted up, pretending shock. Oh my God. Ethan, is everyone okay? What a terrible accident. Johnson cut her off. He'd already seen the footage. Mrs. Ellison, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit arson, attempted murder, and about a dozen other crimes. Turn around. The look on her face, pure disbelief, like the world had no right to strip away her crown. But the cuffs clicked shut all the same. Ending. That was the night the HOA collapsed. Karen Ellison went from Queen of Pine Lake to inmate number 42799. And me, I lost my father's cabin. But I didn't lose the fight. Because here's the truth. I learned in those flames, justice isn't about who yells the loudest. It's about who refuses to stay silent when it matters most. Ciao.